Well, hello again and welcome back to another video. Hope you're all out enjoying this April sunshine at last. I've got my e-bike out here, my Volt Pulse, to clean, and I know I said I'm not making any more videos relating to this, which is the case. Just a little bit of an update. I did put a new battery on this at Christmas and the bike is going so much better. You know, I think I've realised how worn out the old 6-year-old battery was. So the bike is going really well still, and you know, I hope probably now to run this another 18 months or so. There seems a bit of a bird squabble over there. I hope you can hear me above all that noise. It seems there's a gang of sparrows having a bit of a set to. Anyway, I was out on this bike the other day, and strangely enough, I don't usually see a lot of people, but I think the way that things have been, there's a lot more people using bikes at the moment than walking. And I had a guy stop me who'd just bought a brand new e-bike, relatively cheap one, but it suited him and he was very pleased with it. And it's one of the most questions I get asked. I just thought I'd have a look at you know, perhaps 4 or 5 of the most questions that I've been asked. I've had e-bikes since 1999, by the way, and I started off, I had the old power bike with 3 of those massive lead acid cells like this one in a case down the crossbar handle, you know, across the frame of the bike there. And my word, they are really heavy, but it was a good bike. You know, it was probably the weight of a small moped by the time you'd got 3 of those in the plastic case, and it only went about 25-26 miles on a charge, but I loved it, and it was a great bike, and I thought it was amazing. And since then I've had many variations on that, and some good, some not so good, some very good. And but the most question I get asked by people that often stop me or I talk to is they're very worried. Obviously they see the motor and there's a wire going into that. If they have a puncture, is it hard to change a tyre or tube on an e-bike? No, because nowadays the vast majority of e-bikes have a little, down there if you look on yours, or if you buy an e-bike, you'll see where the cable goes into the motor. There is a little plug that you can pull apart that splits obviously the cable, and then it's just a question of taking your wheel off as you would on a conventional bike. So it's no great issue, be that whether that's a front motor or a rear motor. On the older bikes I had, it was that you had to take 2 little screws off. But now, the vast majority, now you'll find there's a little pinned plug that you just pull apart. And I would always advise, if you're doing that, is to take the battery off first, switch the battery off and take the battery off the bike, because I turn the bike over onto its saddle and handlebars so the back wheel is easy to access and get off. But strangely enough, it seems to faze people because they see the cable coming out the wheel. They think it's going to be hard. It isn't. It's as straightforward as a normal bike to put a tyre on. In fact, on one of my older videos, if anybody's interested, I do take the wheel off, because on this bike I broke a spoke with my chain when I locked it up once, and I took the wheel off to replace and put a new spoke in the wheel. So there is a video of that out there. Not difficult at all. And a lot of people ask me, there again, I had a member of the family a few weeks ago asked me, and he was quite offish about it, and he said, well, I don't get what the point of an e-bike is. Well, to me it's quite straightforward, but perhaps if you've never had one, you know, it's not that straightforward, but to me it makes cycling that much easier. I live in a location where to get home I have a big steep hill, so it's brilliant after you've cycled 10, 20, 30, 40 miles to still have battery left to pedal assist up a steep hill, and it's brilliant. And you arrive home very fresh, not sweaty, and likewise if I go on a very straight piece of, I use a cycle path a lot, and it's very straight and open, and it takes a lot of wind. There's a lot of wind comes across this area, and often it's a headwind, and there again it's a breeze on an e-bike in a headwind. So if you're commuting for a job, or you want to get somewhere and you don't necessarily want to arrive at that location all sweaty, it's great because you know, using the pedal assisted mode, it takes the effort out of it. It's also good if, like me, you're getting on in years and your legs perhaps are not like they were 20 years ago, and so it makes that cycling, it means you can still continue on cycling, and you're getting that exercise. I sometimes go off on this and don't even use the battery. I use it as a conventional bike, particularly on the flatter cycleways I go on, and still get that exercise. But the battery's there, and it's handy, just to make life that bit easier and that bit quicker. So there's a lot of pros and cons, and it kind of annoys me, some people say it's a motorbike. It isn't a motorbike. It's a bike with a battery on. This is all this is all bike components on this bike. It is purely a push bike that has been designed to accommodate a battery. As another one of my videos that I did, the law states these bikes in the UK and Europe cannot go over 15.5 miles an hour. The motor will cut out at that point. You can still pedal faster if you do so wish. You can pedal as fast as you like with your own momentum and putting your own energy into it, but the actual motor will cut out at 15.5 or thereabouts. So it is certainly not a motorbike. There again, a few weeks ago, somebody got very irate with me because they thought I shouldn't be cycling on a cycle path on an e-bike. I was very polite, and I explained my side of the situation, that this is purely a bike with a battery. I'm quite within the law of what the UK law says, that I can take this on a cycle path. I don't think they were convinced. They were convinced that I should be on the road. I always take extra precautions and give pedestrians and dog walkers a wide berth, or even get off if there's a lot of people about with pushchairs and that kind of thing, or young children on bikes. So I like to err on the side of caution, but you have every right on an e-bike to be on a cycle path in the UK. As I say, another question I get asked so much is about the charging. How long does it take to charge the battery? Well, on this bike it can take anything to sort of 4 to 6 hours. And there again, I would say, after every time you've been on the bike, put it on charge, whether that's just to your local shop for a couple of miles, or you've been 40 miles on the bike, doesn't matter. Put the bike on charge when you get home, or when you get to a point that you can charge it up. I think that's the way to look after these batteries, and as I say, my old battery lasted 6 years on this bike by doing that. And the other question related to that is, how much does it cost to charge that battery up? Well, it's minimal. It's 5 to 10 pence in UK money a charge, so it's a very small amount. As I say, I think there's a lot of rubbish put out about e-bikes, and I think they're fantastic. Another tip or a bit of advice, if you want, there's so many makes and manufacturers of e-bikes now out there. I still insist you want to have a look at as many as you can. If you're looking in the market and you want to buy one, go and have a look. Go and most bike shops that sell these will let you go on a test ride on various different models and try as many as you can, because what I like, or what somebody else likes, you might not like. You know, this I say this is coming up for 7 years old, this Volt Pulse now. As e-bikes go, this is quite heavy. To me, after having had a bike that took 3 of these, this bike is very light. And you know, I did say that in an old video on this bike, and somebody challenged me and said, hang on, we find that bike very heavy. Good point. It might be to some people. It's only because of what I've had in the past and what I judge it as. So I think that's a key thing with e-bikes. You know, you must find what's right for you. You know, you might find a relatively cheap e-bike is quite good enough for you. And I think it's like most things, sadly, in life. The more money you want to pay for something, the better the product and the further the distance you're going to get on that e-bike. But you know, you might only want to do 5 or 10 miles or 15 or 20 miles, and so you know, a cheaper e-bike might be a way forward for you. Or if you want something that's going to last X amount of years and that you can probably get 120 miles pedal assisted mode, well then you're probably looking at something in the better price bracket. But do, you know, have a look, as many as you possibly can. That's why I've sung the Volt's praises over the years, but I would never really recommend it, because what I like, other people might not, and that's life and what life's all about. I still think the Volt range is worth a look, and they certainly do make some good bikes, I think, and I've been delighted with this one. But that's my take on it again. So as I say, there is a lot of you know, total rubbish written about e-bikes, and if you can ride a conventional bike and you like conventional cycling, but you know, you're getting to a point when it's, you know, hard work getting up the hills, or you know, facing a headwind, or you just want life that little bit easier or a bit quicker to get to somewhere, do consider, you know, they are certainly worth considering. Sadly, I've had you know, I've been campaigning with various groups, including the UK government, to try and get them a lot cheaper, and certainly the replacement batteries a lot cheaper. But hopefully, as you know, battery packs develop further, you know, the price in relative terms will come down, we hope. But so there we go. That's my little look, you know, and as I say, I just felt there is so many people ask me these questions, and I just thought I'd put this little video out there. And it was nice weather, and I had the bike out cleaning, so there we go. And as I say, this one still goes well after, well, 6.5 years now. It'll be seven years in early October when I bought this. So it's done remarkably well, and it must have done many thousand miles over that period. And I've been delighted with it. But like you say, that's me and what I've found with this. So as always, thank you for watching. You know, please do think about subscribing and or liking or commenting if you've got any thoughts about e-bikes. And I'd always like to, you know, discuss the good and the bad points and the indifferent points of various, you know, e-bikes. And if you've had an experience with a really good one, let us know. You know, several people have in previous videos, you know, and there are some really good bikes out there on the market. I still hope later this summer, as I say, with how things have been in the UK, it still hasn't given me really the appropriate time or the place to go and have a look at some new models, and I want to do that hopefully later on this summer, and perhaps do some little videos of the bikes that I try and what I think about them, because long term I am thinking of replacing this one eventually. So there we go. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you shortly in a future video, and hope you're out enjoying the sun, and bye for now.